as a company, you need cash to operate.
Sure.
So a normal company that operates in the fiat world gets fiat money.
Yeah.
Right. And then they decide, okay, are they going to, when they need to invest in growth initiatives, are they going to sell equity? Are they going to use debt? Or are they going to use cash as it comes in? We don't operate in the fiat world in the sense that our revenues are Bitcoin denominated.
Right.
And so we prefer to hold as much Bitcoin as we can.
Yeah.
So if we have to fund operations or fund growth, we look at, should we use debt? Should we sell equity? Should we sell Bitcoin? And there has never been, in recent time, a reason to sell Bitcoin, because it always pencils that Bitcoin will, if you use the low end of the range of 20% annualized, it's still better than the other alternatives.
Yeah.
Bitcoin Zella stands out with its simplicity and clarity. We've crafted an experience that anyone can dive into, whether you're a crypto expert or just a new to the crypto world. Now, guess who keeps his eye on us? The author of best-selling book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. And we want to take this opportunity and thank all the people who trusted us, and we read every comment. And the best part, it's free. Subscribing now means you will get all new information for free. Don't just follow the trends, stay ahead of them. Subscribe to Bitcoin Zella today and enjoy the new edge. Fred Thiel discusses Bitcoin buying strategy. What makes Marathon unique from other Bitcoin mining companies, Bitcoin nation-state adoption, the future of Bitcoin mining, and the roadblocks on the way to global Bitcoin adoption.
Because our definition of luck is opportunity meets preparedness. And in business, if you have the ability to buy something when the opportunity strikes, that's what makes a winning trade, if you would. Sure. It's like, anything, real estate, any other asset. If you have the cash when the market drops, you can go in and buy.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing if you look at our $100 million purchase. Bitcoin has had these really interesting oscillations lately.
Yeah.
And if you buy the dip, you can actually buy Bitcoin at a discount.
Yes.
And one thing people don't realize that we do is, people ask us, well, why are you mining Caspa? What the hell is that? You're a Bitcoin miner. Well, 1 kilowatt of energy for me generates 8 cents of Bitcoin value.
Okay.
1 kilowatt of Caspa generates $1. I can use that dollar to buy Bitcoin.
Oh, wow. Okay. Caspa is
it's a proof of work coin.
Got it.
It's one of the up and coming coins.
Got it.
Very interesting technology, but we're constantly looking at ways, what can we do to generate revenues that we can turn into Bitcoin?
Got it.
Because anything we can do to buy Bitcoin at a discount is good for our shareholders.
Sure.
Once you explain it to people, at the end of the day, there is, you can be very binary in your belief about Bitcoin,
sure,
or you can be reasonable.
Yeah.
Right. I have a definition of good and bad, which is different from most people.
Okay.
Right. Because good and bad often are moral values. But if you look at it from a purely rational perspective, if you're creating value for your stakeholders, shareholders, employees, partners, the ecosystem, the Bitcoin world, then that's good. If you're destroying value, then that's bad.
Right.
So if I'm doing things that help enhance the Bitcoin ecosystem because it means I'm mining more Bitcoin, and I'm being able to raise money to mine more Bitcoin, and I can raise money to buy more Bitcoin, what's bad about that? I'm just creating value for the Bitcoin ecosystem.
Right.
After facing a strong rejection at the $65,000 level, the Bitcoin price has once again seen strong selling pressure taking support at the $58,000 level. On the other hand, the Bitcoin whale wallets with 100-plus BTC have reached a 17-month high ahead of some key events scheduled for the month of September. Despite the recent market disappointments and volatility over the past month, Bitcoin whale accumulation has continued with a steady surge in whale holdings per the Santiment report. Over the last month, BTC whale wallets holding more than 100 Bitcoins have surged by 283, thereby taking the total number of such wallets to 16,120. This represents the highest number of such large holders in the last 17 months. Further data from Santiment also reveals a strong reduction in the BTC supply on the exchanges, dropping by 40,000, Bitcoin's worth $2.4 billion in the last 3 days. These exchange outflows suggest that Bitcoin whales are moving the BTC to cold storage in huge quantities and buying Bitcoin dips aggressively. The next month of September could be absolutely eventful for the crypto markets moving ahead. To begin with, the Cardano Chain upgrade will go live on Sunday, September 1, steering the blockchain network towards the path of strong governance and further decentralization. The most awaited event will be the FOMC meeting in September and Jerome Powell's decision on interest rate cuts. However, it would be interesting to see whether this would be a 25 bps rate cut or a 50 basis rate cut. By the year-end, the market is considering the possibility of a 100 bps rate cut in total. Along with the macro optimism, some top altcoins will be on investors' radar looking to kickstart the next alt season. Furthermore, Donald Trump and Kamala Harris are set for the first presidential debate, and the crypto community is all ears to this development, as the crypto industry has been the center point for the political agenda of the 2024 U.S. presidential elections. On the other hand, the Asian market is gearing up for major crypto events, such as the Korean Blockchain Week starting September 9. Similarly, the Token 2049 event will happen later in the month in Singapore. These developments, coupled with Bitcoin whale accumulation and drop in exchange supply, could be a major trigger for the next phase of the rally.
What a lot of people, I think, forget about, and all, for lack of a better term, let's say non-Bitcoiners, they compare Bitcoin to things like gold, silver, and other commodities that aren't finite. Bitcoin's the only investment instrument that you can't print more of.
Right. Ever.
Yeah. And so why shouldn't you try and accumulate as much as possible while you can? Because no matter whose math you do it, if Bitcoin's going to go to zero, well, my business is a mining business is going to be out of business anyway. So why shouldn't I try and have as much Bitcoin on my balance sheet as possible? Because if the U.S. government decides to hold and buy Bitcoin, if other sovereigns decide to do it, the price of Bitcoin's only going to go up.
Yeah.
Which means that my balance sheet's only going to get stronger and stronger and stronger.
Yeah.
People have to be very careful how they look at the markets, because when you get too much Bitcoin sitting in a concentrated set of hands, when those hands make a decision and move, things can happen that are disproportionately more violent than otherwise. Now, what's interesting is what's going to happen, I would say, in the next 6 to 12 months is we'll see a whole series of derivative financial instruments, which will allow people to trade essentially risk and hedge risk in the ways people can do around other commodities.
Right.
You know, in the oil industry, there's all sorts of ways you can do things to hedge your risk. And so we're going to start seeing more and more of that around Bitcoin as a way to create a much more liquid market. Because imagine a future where the U.S. government owns 2 million Bitcoin. That's 10% of the available Bitcoin. Saudis, Russians, Chinese, India, etc., decide to own 20% in aggregate. Okay, now that's 30% of all the Bitcoin in the world is suddenly just is off the market. So that leaves 70%. And you could argue that roughly 4 million Bitcoin, the keys are lost. I mean, Satoshi's wallet, stuff like that, right? Okay, so that's another 20-ish%. So now you're at 50% of the Bitcoin is kind of locked up. And then throw the ETFs in there, you know, already at 1 or 2%, MicroStrategy, you know, 1% and growing. Okay, so now you're kind of at 60%. Not a lot of liquidity in the market. And so you either have to get in now, or it's going to get a lot harder. And, you know, the market's going to have this roaring demand for these derivative instruments. And so you're going to see the actual liquidity speculating on Bitcoin as an investment asset grow exponentially over the next few years.
In a recent conversation with analyst Scott Melker, Jack Mallers, the CEO and founder of Strike, a global Bitcoin app, explained why he is a Bitcoin maximalist. He emphasized that this prediction is grounded in economic fundamentals, including the likelihood of inflation soaring and the impact of civil unrest. Despite some recent outflows from U.S. Bitcoin ETF, Mallers noted that global accumulation continues, with Australia's Bitcoin ETF leading the charge and over 110 businesses now building on Bitcoin in Africa. Despite the expected rise in other asset classes, Maximalist believes Bitcoin is unique, and with its limited supply, it is positioned to outperform other assets by a significant margin. Maximalist has previously predicted that Bitcoin could reach between $250,000 and $1 million, driven by what he sees as the greatest asset bull market ever. This prediction is grounded in his view that central banks have been manipulating financial markets to prevent economic pain and failures, thereby fueling asset bubbles. Maximalist identified several key factors that could drive a significant increase in Bitcoin's price. He anticipates that as summer ends and investors return, market activity will pick up, potentially boosting Bitcoin's value. Additionally, a Federal Reserve rate cut could inject cheap capital into the market, benefiting risk assets such as Bitcoin. Furthermore, Maximalist believes that the potential re-election of former President Trump, seen as a pro-Bitcoin candidate, could further stimulate a Bitcoin rally. Maximalist mentioned Vice President Kamala Harris can also turn crypto voters, citing positive discussions between her team and Coinbase. For him, the bigger catalyst of BTC price at present is the sovereign debt market. Central banks, which aim to fix prices for societal benefit, are now facing the critical challenge of the sovereign debt market, or the bond market. So he thinks $1 million Bitcoin is reasonable. It's not impossible, he concluded. And do not forget to subscribe to Bitcoin Zella. The most important news will reach your inbox on a daily basis and for free. I do not know why you have not subscribed yet. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more daily updates. Remember, knowledge is power, and we're here to empower you on your financial journey. Until next time, happy investing.